So if you clicked on the link, then you know that you're here to see my review of Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to pre-warn you now, this is not going to be a glowing review because I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good at all. I think he's the worst Hot Rod we've ever had. I think he is the worst Studio Series offering so far. I think he's a front runner for worst entry of 2021, and I would say he's one of the worst Transformers in my entire collection. I don't like the guy at all. But I do like to try and be balanced. So while I'm going to explain that, after we kind of come back from the review, I'm going to cover my objective criticisms, my subjective criticisms, and I'm going to give you kind of the other side of the story, because I actually went out and asked some people, why do you like this guy? Because I don't get it. Stick around. There's a lot to do here and a lot to compare, because we're going to look at the Studio Series Hot Rod in relation to the classics, to the Titan's Return, and even to the inner Hot Roddy robot that is part of Power of the Primes, Rodimus Prime, and see where this guy stacks up and fits in. I'm going to tell you now, and you're going to hear it often throughout, he is definitely not a Voyager at all. Without any further ado, let's jump into the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media. All those links are in the description. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or, of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. And this is Studio Series Hot Rod, and I don't like this for a number of reasons. And the worst part is, when I first saw him, and even now when I hold him in hand and you're looking at him, I know that you're thinking, he looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. That's only part of it. And you're right, he looks pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. I try to always be as objective as I can when I do this stuff. And for the most part, I think herein with the review, I cover things that are objective criticisms, and when they are subjective, I think I note them, but we will see that as we go through. He starts off strong with his look, and it kind of goes downhill from there, at least for me. We'll see what happens when we come back here after the review, but without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And up next is Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be an uphill climb, because this guy is going scored against being a Voyager, because he's sold as a Voyager. He's nowhere close to being a Voyager. On no planet, no way, shape, or form is this a Voyager. Even with all of his bits and pieces, he clocks in at a grand total of 77 grams. It's not even. And that's every accessory with them. That's not even a traditional deluxe class offering. 77 grams. Traditional deluxe is 84. A Voyager is usually more like 120, 130-ish. This guy's not close. He's not a Voyager. Do not pay Voyager price for this. Wait for it to go on clearance or something, because it's not a Voyager. You're getting ripped off. It's as simple as that. You're getting ripped off. So it's going to be an uphill climb. I'm not going to lie. Because of that, I find it offensive that this is being sold as a Voyager. So that's where we're starting from. Me being offended. Yeah, it's going to be a rough start. But before we get into all of the bits and pieces, we're going to begin with the packaging first. And it's beautiful packaging. Great artwork. He's opening the Matrix. Yay! Hot Rod is becoming Rodimus Prime. Whatever. There's a close-up of his mug on this side. It's a rough-looking mug, man. Here he is over here. That looks good. And the product images on the back, they're just fine. And here we have, as his display, the depths of Unicron. And you can take Hot Rod, Deluxe Hot Rod, and even then he's struggling to be a Deluxe. And you can put Hot Rod right there, and it looks just fine because he's not a Voyager. And we have instructions. These are trash. Honestly, his legs are very cumbersome and not fun as far as I'm concerned to transform, though some people say, it's amazing. I think the from the waist down, the guy's trash. And this doesn't make it easier. It's like they show the legs, and it's like you kind of do this sort of stuff until you can fold it around, and then you hope it works. I don't like these. He comes with two of these really neat blast effects. They're supposed to be like blue flamage that comes out of his like exhaust pipes. This blaster cast in red, pink, painted in silver, very reminiscent of his G1. As is this other blaster, done the exact same way. Optimus has his axe, Megatron has his mace, and Hot Rod has his saw blade. And it does rotate, but it doesn't like rotate freely. And lastly, the Matrix, as it comes with Optimus and a blast effect for it for when he's holding it and opening the Matrix. And here we have Hot Rod in all of his robot mode glory. So, we're going to begin with the grades first in terms of his paint apps and look. Paint apps and look, honestly, I'm going to say it's a solid 8.75, maybe even a 9. It's not perfect. Anybody who says it is wrong. First things first, the spoiler. A lot of people have said it's too big, it's too high on the back. Actually, if you look at the character model, the kind of wings of the spoiler come out kind of halfway behind his head. So there's an actual measure there. This is slightly too high, indeed. But I don't think it looks bad, but it should be slightly lower, no doubt about it. The elbows are gray here. They should be the same sort of fuchsia color, because here's the thing, he's not actually red, he's more of like a slight pinky fuchsia. Rodimus was a darker color, Hot Rod was a little bit of a lighter color. So instead of being gray, they should be that. The orange on his wrists, there's a touch of yellow that should also be in there. The knees shouldn't be yellow, the knees should have hinges that are orange. Besides that, I think the guy is pretty great, pretty accurate. You know what, let's even say a 9.25, because the gripes are there, but they're minor, but they're still there. I mean, I'd like to say he's perfect, but like he's not quite there. I do love that on the lower leg it's not quite gray. It's this reddish gray, brownish gray. It's a weird shade, but it's an accurate shade because it's not a stark gray. So 9.25 for the paint apps, but when we put the mass in with it, that automatically drops it, cause, say it with me now, he's not a Voyager on any shape or form, no way. Now, that being said, it's still a pretty good start. It's definitely a neat looking Hot Rod, no doubt. What about the articulation for the guy? Well, we do have a head that can go left, right, doesn't really, well, no, some up and down. More down than up. Not much up, but some down. The shoulders, they can go, I guess, well, they can kind of go all the way around. The shoulders are weird, because when you go like this, now you can't put it out to the side. Or when you have it up like this, like it can't go out to the side. There is a workaround for it. You bring the arm down, you bring it up, so now the tire's up here, and you bring it forward. You do get the movement that way, so if you want the arm like this, like you can. It's cumbersome and weird, but now he can't go straight up. The shoulders are weird. You can get what you want, but you gotta work for it. By the way, these silver pieces on the shoulders, they should be higher. They're a little low here. We do have a waist. We do have an elbow to slightly over 90 degrees. We do have wrist swivel. We do have opening and closing fingers. I guess opening and closing fingers are the mark of a Voyager these days. Like I said, waist, hip all the way out to the side. Hip, nope, can't really go back very far at all, actually. All the way forward. Thigh swivel built in the thigh. It's pretty effective. We have a nice deep knee, which I do like. And we do have ankle tilt to the side and a little like forward and back. Again, the shoulders are kind of cumbersome and kind of clunky. I'm gonna say that the articulation for the guy is somewhere around 8. It's not the best articulation. It's okay. Right now, if I was to average out what we have, I'd say he's about an 8.5. It's an okay Hot Rod, but it's not stellar and it's not spectacular, and there's plenty of room for improvement. And it's not a Voyager. The things that come with him. He can hold like that blaster just fine. He can hold his other blaster just fine. He can open and close his hands to hold the matrix in his hand. It cannot go in his chest anywhere because it doesn't open up to allow that. So you got that. These things, we'll see them used really in vehicle mode, but if you wanted to put them on in this mode, I mean, you can. If I want to plug it on over, I mean, I can. I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but you can. You can open out, and you can do this on either side. Open out the back, rotate that around, close it up, and now you have like a circular peg here at the wrist. That circular, oh, sorry. This one has like the, I don't even know what this is, a welder, I guess. The other one, my mistake, the other one, if you open out the back of it and you rotate. Yeah, so that one has like the welder piece. I'm saying it's a welder piece, I don't know what it is. Now this one has the peg and you can, it's a tight fit, but you can put the saw thing right there if you are inclined. Cool, I guess. Okay. Bring that around and close that up. I think that's it for that. Now, on the back here, you can store some of his stuff. Not the matrix. There's nothing you can do with the matrix. It's just there, and he holds it that one time if you want it for display. Otherwise, there's no storage for the matrix. I already showed you that you could put those other blast effects on in this mode if you want. But what about his two blasters and his, like, sword piece thing? They can go on. We have rectangular tabs right there, and on the sides of the two blasters we have rectangular tabs. My guess is over time, doing it this way, you're probably going to have paint scuff. I could be wrong. I haven't experienced it yet, but like, I could see it happening. And this is a tight fit on my copy. You put those in like that on the back, and then on the saw piece we have two rectangular slots, and they too should be able to, yeah, peg on like that. So you have all of that right there on the back, I guess, if you want it. I don't know. Is that any good for storage? I guess it's okay. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta be honest, I'm not really, it's not a great hot rod. It's an okay hot rod, but for the price, remember, here in Canada, a Voyager is $39.99. Taxes in, this guy was teetering on $45. I'm not seeing the value. I'm just not seeing it. It's an okay deluxe, and even then it's a bit small. What about, so the articulation is weird at the shoulders. Yeah, the articulation is weird at the shoulders. He has it, but you gotta really finagle some stuff around. Then we get to the transformation. So far the guy's getting an 8.5. The transformation, I'm going to tell you now, isn't great. Not by my mind. The upper body is, the lower body isn't. The upper body's genius. The lower body's trash. I detest it. So, how do we do this? We open out the little tab on the back, we bring this around on the hand and bring it forward, because this is an easy thing to do. Bring it around, bring it forward. Easy thing to do. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. You can open the top of his head and you can flip out, if you want, his little visor piece. First time I did this, the top of his head was super duper tight. I don't know how much longevity this little clear plastic visor piece will have. I wouldn't flip it lots and lots of times. Let's put it that way. Plenty of paint on the face though, so I do like that. We bring this off on the back and we separate the entire back section from the front. I dig that. It's familiar, but I dig it. Then we flip out this like yellow piece. It's where the front of the hood is, and we take this whole thing, and I like this, and make sure that I have this set up now. Oh, I gotta flip out that. Then we rotate the whole thing around. I love that. I think that's so cool. Bring this up, fold that down over and tab it in, but we're not going to tab it in yet because we need to deal with some stuff in here. But that's what's going to happen. Take the head, put the head back in. close this up. Now, before we deal with any more of the upper body stuff, we're going to deal with the lower body first. I don't like this. These pieces, for some reason, open in. I think they should have opened out. And when they open in, it doesn't feel good. There's a pin in here, and the plastic is super thin. We fold the foot up. I don't feel like the plastic is going to last. And then we got to fold this section out. On my copy, that's super tight, and it's like, it feels like it wants to squeak. And then when we bring that out, we tab it in. Again, super tight. You just heard a click in there. I don't trust the plastic around this pin. I don't trust the plastic around this pin. It's all so thin that I'll be shocked if there's any worthwhile longevity to it. We now take the waist and rotate it around, and we fold this up, and the easiest way to do it is have the leg all the way out to the side, fold it up, and then as you start to try and fold this down over the thigh, sort of try and bring the thigh back. This isn't elegant. This feels so bad. Like, you see me struggling with it here because it's so, no. There, finally. I don't like it. I don't like anything about how that was engineered. Not in the least. I would, if I was their boss and somebody came and this was the engineering they'd have, I'd say you're fired. I think it's that bad. Oh, this doesn't feel even a little bit good. Look how tight this is. You can hear it squeaking. Oh, that's awful. So not good. We bring this around. Hopefully I can bring it down over. This is the way you want the knee, by the way. You want to push it in all the way like this, because there's like a double hinge there. Bring that down. Gosh, that lower body is, no, it's not fun. Anybody who says it's fun is either they don't have the tolerance issues I have, or they're lying, because it's not well done. This comes up, turns around as it always does with hot rod, comes down. When it comes down, there's a couple of little tabs back here that these leg pieces should again go into. It's even that, like, they don't want to go in there. It's not, the tolerances are so not good down on these legs. There, and make sure that's all done, and there. Oh man, not fun at all. Not even a bit. The arms, they will come down, and when they come down, we're going to line up our pieces there. There's also a little tab on the roof section that goes into a little rectangular port on the arm. Same thing over on the other side. Little tab right there goes into a little port on the arm. Like that. Then we come to these red pieces here. Again, mine are pretty tight and don't feel good coming out over. You do that, and then you bring this up, and there's a little tab there that goes into the spot there on the hood, like that. The front is a little bit squat from what it should be. It should be back further than that. In terms of placement of things for this guy, you can take the two blasters and you can place them right here on the hood, or you can still put them back right there. You still have the access to do both of it, but I think in vehicle mode the intention, a la Target Master, is, oh man, put that in like that, and then this I guess would go on. It's a good thing he doesn't need some. I'm gonna put that on. Okay, so I could not, though I've seen it done, I could not get the saw piece to connect to the two blasters when they were on the hood. I've seen it done, I know it can be done. I can't get it to work at all. I was 10 minutes trying to get it on there and never worked first and last. This is the only way I can store it. The blast effects are on the back. I don't like this. The Transformation 3, it's a failure. It's the same sort of failure as Universe Galvatron. This is Voyager's, like, Voyager inclined engineering that they cheaped out and put it on a deluxe class offering, and it's not working. It's not good. I can't recommend this. Overall score, it might be a 5. It's not a good hot rod. Let's compare them. Let's compare them to other hot rods. Well, here we have vehicle modes. And the newest one, the Studio Series, is not only the most expensive of all these, but it is also the smallest of all these. So that tells you an awful lot. It's not a Voyager. In terms of vehicle mode, I guess it's okay. I don't feel like it's the ideal vehicle mode. I feel like the closest vehicle mode is the Titan's Return or the Power of the Primes. I feel like either of those is closer to the actual vehicle mode than this guy. Why, you may ask? Simple. And I would say the Titan's Return is the closest. The new one, the hood is shorter than it should be. It is a little more squat. Plus, the new one also has a lot of yellow up here. The headlights of the Power of the Primes and the Classics are kind of off. And I don't think that the Titan's Return is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's the least objectionable of the car modes. In robot mode, and man oh man, a picture is worth 1,000 words, is it not? You could see here, the closest thing that we have to a Voyager hot rod is the Power of the Primes version, which I have often used as Rodimus Prime. It's the closest to a Voyager. It kind of fits in with, say, Titan's Return, Sentinel Prime. It looks about the same height as Earthrise Optimus Prime. It fits in with the Age of Extinction, Evasion Mode Optimus. It looks a little small, but looks all right next to, say, the Combiner Wars Optimus, like the Battle Core Optimus or whatever it was. It's Voyager-ish. The other three are deluxe. This new one is not a Voyager. Stop saying it is. Yeah, so in terms of looks, if your intention is to have a hot rod and put them on your shelf and like never touch them and don't even worry about them really being in a dynamic pose and you just want them to look like hot rod, then the Studio Series one is probably the way to go. If you want more dynamic poses, the most dynamic one here is the Titan's Return. He has the broadest range of articulation. If you actually want it to be usable and transformable and enjoyable and not frustrating, then either the Titan's Return or the Classics has the smoothest, nicest transformation. I don't feel like I'm going to break anything on the Classics. I don't feel like I'm going to break anything on Titan's Return, though I don't like the Headmaster gimmick. My Power of the Primes, the articulation is so trash on it that I tried to mod it, and he's actually in 2 parts, but luckily there's a lot of locking points, so he stays together as one solid robot just fine. But he technically isn't anymore. And the new one, the transformation it's not smooth. The upper body is good. The upper body is really brilliant, but I find that the lower body is so poorly done and the plastic is so thin and cheap feeling that I'm just waiting for it to break. I don't believe in the longevity of it. It squeaks as it's going around the pins. It's little thin plastic. It's not good. It's not Voyager. The only way that I could say that the Studio Series 86 Hot Rod is worth getting is if A, you're getting it as a gift, B, you are an extreme Hot Rod fan, or C, you find it on significant sale. I would say a good 50% off. Then it's worth it. For Voyager price, not a chance. For a deluxe price, For clearance, yeah, he's worth clearance. And here we are once again, and here he is. So, first things first, the look of the guy. Look! I think that the kind of almost pinky red is correct. I think it's great. I love the gray that's on his hands. I love the gray that's on his face. I love where the orange is. I even love the color on the shins. I think all of that's tremendous. I love the orange on the thighs. I think that's tremendous. I love the chest. I think it's great. I'm not even bothered by the spoiler. But, objectively speaking, the gray on the elbows, the yellow on the knees, the yellow on the hips, it's not right. It's not right, and they're charging a Voyager price for this. It's not even close to a Voyager, not even really close to a deluxe. And that's with, like, everything attached. It's not a Voyager. I know I keep saying it, and I sound like a broken record, but there's no way, in any way, shape, or form that this is. So that's objective, in terms of the joints being the wrong color. Whether you forgive it or not, man, that's up to you. Then we get to the articulation. Now, honestly, I have less of a problem with the articulation than a lot of people do because I'm okay with moving the arm like this. It's a bit of work, but I can't pretend that it shouldn't have been designed better. If you're, again, calling this a Voyager, calling this Voyager level engineering, then the shoulders should work better. When we got Snapdragon and his shoulders, or not his shoulders, his elbow bend was lackluster, I called it out on it and said it's a bad design. Yes, at a Voyager price point, he should be able to bend his arms at least to 90 degrees. Same thing here. At a Voyager, at a Voyager price point, there shouldn't be limitations to his shoulders. They should just work. Simple. Very simple. The Titan's Return shoulders and arms work infinitely better. I would say of all of the hot rods, the Titan's Return's arms, as weird as they look, actually function the best. Then we get to the transformation. Now, this is a subjective one, right? So like the arm articulation is objective. The incorrect joints is objective. The transformation of the lower body might be subjective. For me, I find that twisting out that and then twisting out the next one, none of it feels good around the pin. The plastic feels cheap and flimsy and thin, and it's like it squeaks, it rubs, it's like the plastic is yelling at me like, don't move me that way. I don't want to move that way. At least on my copy. At least on my copy. So I guess that might be subjective. It might be results will vary. We'll get to that in a second. But it's a bad enough design. And then why do they open in? Like this is, no, like why would you do this? It's already hitting off of each other. The legs of the Titan's Return, the legs of the Power of the Primes, and the legs of the Classics, all three handled infinitely better than the legs on this piece of trash. And I have to say it because as far as I'm concerned, the legs are so bad and I'm afraid they're going to break that I think it ruins the transformation. I have zero confidence in the longevity of this. I'll be shocked if they last. Now, all that being said, I scored the guy somewhere around a 5 or 6 overall, and he was dragged down because of the transformation, and his transformation was only dragged down because of the legs. Make of that what you will, but there's a flip side. There are people, and a lot of people, that think this guy is the bee's knees. He is the absolute hands-down best that we've had. So I went back and I asked these guys, why? Because I don't get it. I don't see it. Here's what they said, and I'm relaying to you what I collected from a few people. One, they said, his look is spot on. I said, what about the incorrect color joints? They said, I can look past that. Okay, but you're not saying that they are correctly colored. Like, you're acknowledging they're incorrect. They said, yes. I said, but you're looking past it. They said, also yes. Okay, cool. So it's up to you if the joints bug you or not. The articulation. Everybody pointed out the shoulders and said, yeah, the shoulder, like, you know, if you're creative, you can get some pretty dynamic poses, but yeah, the shoulders are an issue. But not enough of an issue that you can't work around it. I agree with that. Then we get to the transformation. They said the transformation is excellent, stupendous. They find the legs work really well on theirs. They find there's no like movement issues, no tolerance issues. Theirs work like butter every single time. I don't see it. Mine is not like it. So all that tells me is the QC is variable with this guy. And perhaps the most important one that was given that I will acknowledge that I didn't in the review, but I'll do it now because I didn't really notice it, is that there is no waffling on this guy. No hollowness, no waffling. The legs are completely filled in all the way around, including the thighs where they didn't necessarily have to, but it's done. The arms, same thing, up and underneath is filled in. The bicep completely filled in. The body, you know, is absolutely full with actual transformation stuff inside. It compacts nice. So I get that. I get that. Honestly, a point for that. What I scored his paint apps and whatnot at, I'll adjust it now. So the kind of the paint apps and the styling for the guy, I think I said we're about an 8.5. Because there's no waffling and no hollowness, I'm going to say it's a 9.5. I'm going to say it's actually quite excellent, with the only fault being that all the joints are colored incorrectly. So 9.5 there. The articulation is still about like an 8 or so. Like, those shoulders are an issue. You can work around, but they are an issue. It's not bad, but they are an issue. The transformation, at least on my copy, is still only about a 3. So overall, if this guy was, say, a 5.5, he's about a 6.5 now. If it was a 6, he's about a 7. He's just a little bit better than what he was. And the biggest culprit of it all is the lower legs. If you're lucky enough to get a copy where the lower legs work fine, cool. But otherwise, it is what it is. The last thing though is that this guy is not worth the full price of admission. It is not a Voyager. It's not worth a Voyager price. You should not buy it at a Voyager price. It's nowhere close to it. As a gift, cool. On sale, cool. Better yet, on clearance, because it's not good enough for the cost of admission. Let me know what you think about Hot Rod. I know I'm harsh. Maybe you love the guy and I'm sorry, but I gotta call him as I see him. Otherwise, this wouldn't be the true review. I appreciate you coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you do make a difference. Hit the subscribe button and stick around and have some fun with us. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit to either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, right here, inside the videos.